Pace. A step. The rate of speed of something moving. She is working at a great pace. She walks at a smooth pace. The people at the office work at a very fast pace. He walks at a fast pace. Please step 3 paces forward. We need to increase the pace at work. He set the pace for the marathon. He could not keep up the pace with his older brother. Please slow your pace so that others can catch up. The kids walked a couple of paces behind their camp leader. We walked a few paces ahead of the hikers. We were just a few paces from the campsite. They are working at a fast pace.
Pace. To walk back and forth in the same area. To set the speed of something. He slowly paced back and forth in the hospital waiting room. She nervously paced up and down the hall. He carefully paced himself so he would not make any errors. He paced around the room over and over again. Panic. A state of fear and confusion. Press the panic button if you need help. I usually have a panic attack when hosting a big party. He suffers from panic disorders. We installed a panic room just in case of emergencies. He went into panic mode when the caterers didn't show up for the wedding. In the days leading up to the performance, there was a sense of mounting panic. The country was in a state of widespread panic. She went into sheer panic when she couldn't find her son. The virus caused sheer panic among the city. He felt total panic when he lost the engagement ring. She was filled with panic before going on stage. Panic is rising in the community over the killer disease. She looked around in panic for a place to hide. She froze with panic when she saw the robber in her house. There is nationwide panic about a flu epidemic. There was panic among the community.
Peak. Being at the highest or best level. Being at the top. Busiest. Apples should be picked during peak season. Try to avoid peak hours. He gave his peak performance at the last Olympic Games.
Peak. The highest or best level, the top. The hikers reached the jagged peak of the mountain. The snowy peaks of the mountains are beautiful. We could see the distant peak of Mount St. Helens. The mountain peaks were covered with snow. Prices increased during the seasonal peaks at the hotel. There was a sharp peak in housing prices a few years ago. Hikers climbed to the peak of the mountain. Sales reached its peak during the winter months. She is at the peak of her career. Car sales were at its peak last month.
Perception. The way someone notices or understands things. It is a common perception that smoking is bad for you. You have the wrong perception of her. The growing perception of the company is not good. Elderly people have poor depth perception. Parents have a positive perception of the school. The overall perception of the teacher was good. They have a bad perception of you. The mayor tried to improve the perception of his city. Your behavior shapes people's perception of you. Furniture rearrangement can alter the perception of a room. How can I correct people's perception of me? Rumors skewed my perception of him. Let's examine the perception of homeless people. His sudden anger only confirmed people's perception of him.
Permit. To allow. We will have a picnic if the weather permits. The city permitted the use of the abandoned building. The school normally permits visitors. His grandmother never permits strangers in the house. He finally permitted them to leave. She is not legally permitted to leave the country. Children are not permitted to play here. This is not permitted by law.
Permit. An official written document allowing someone to do something. The city issues permits by mail. You can apply for a parking permit at the front desk. My permit expired last month. You must have a permit to drive that truck. You need a permit to enter the building. A permit is required for all pet owners. I just renewed my hunting permit. Homeowners need a special permit to build swimming pools. I bought a temporary permit to park in this lot. Do you have a valid permit to park here? Are you a permit holder? I need to submit my permit application. You need a permit for parking. We can only go sailing with a boat permit. You cannot hunt without a permit. Access to the building is by permit only.
Pie. A type of dessert. A pastry dessert baked in the oven, filled with fruits. My mother bakes pies. Would you like another slice of pie? I like the pie filling. May I borrow a pie pan? I love apple pie. What's the fruit in that pie?
Plane. A flying vehicle with wings and 1 or 2 engines, also known as an airplane, a flat surface. She missed the plane. The plane flew through the sky. We took a plane to get there. The plane is about to take off. This plane is carrying 400 people. Who is flying the plane? The plane crashed. Did you buy your plane ticket yet? There was a plane crash on the news. The president has a private plane. We took a commercial plane. They shot down the fighter plane. The floor must be built on a level plane. We came here by plane. She was not on the plane. We sat in the plane for hours. Poem. An artistic piece of writing written in separate lines and has a repeated rhythm and sometimes rhymes. He writes poems. She read her poem to her family. They are publishing her poems. I like to read classic poems. She wrote a new poem. The poem is about summer. The poem is written in Chinese.
Presence. The act of being in a specific place, the area close to someone or something. She did not acknowledge his presence. He increased his presence at work. The test indicates the presence of the virus. Her mere presence bothers me. He had a commanding presence at work. There is growing presence of police in the area.
He is a constant presence in my life.
He has great stage presence. I was in the presence of greatness. I was nervous in her presence.
Proposal. A suggested idea or plan, a way of officially asking someone to marry you. The boss accepted his proposal. He withdrew his budget proposal. Let's discuss the new proposal. He made a proposal at the meeting. She developed a proposal for a new project. She received a marriage proposal. He submitted a formal proposal for the project. Her initial proposal was rejected. She accepted his marriage proposal. He submitted a new proposal for the budget. Provided. On the condition, with the understanding. I'll go with you, provided that you drive and pay. He'll get a bonus, provided that he finishes his project on time. I'll drive, provided that you help with gas money. I'll go, provided that you go too. I'll play, provided that you play too.
Qualify. To reach a certain level that gives you the ability to do something. He failed to qualify for the final competition. He automatically qualifies for free health care. She barely qualifies as a team leader. She qualified for the Olympics. She doesn't qualify as a citizen.
Quote. To repeat the words that were spoken or written by someone else. To give an estimated cost of something. You quoted the wrong source. She quotes scripture all the time. The author quoted the source directly. He quoted us a fair price. The author quoted her directly. She often quotes scripture. He is quoted below. She was accurately quoted as saying that. He often quotes from the Bible. He was quoted as saying that.
Quote. Spoken or written words, an estimated price, a punctuation mark for spoken words. That quote is from Shakespeare. The plumber gave us a quote. We got a quote from the contractor. That was a direct quote from the author. It's an anonymous quote. The salesman gave us a free quote. This quote is from the story. We received a quote for the repairs.
Realistic. Showing a true possibility. Showing things as they really are. The fight in the movie looks very realistic. Try to keep your goals realistic. The situation is becoming realistic. How can we make the scene more realistic? Do you have realistic plans? We don't have any realistic chances anymore. She is a very realistic person. His goals are fairly realistic. She is realistic enough to know that it won't work. The scene was incredibly realistic. You are not being realistic about this. You are not being very realistic in your goals.
Reception. A formal party. The act of greeting or welcoming. Radio or television signal. I was invited to her wedding reception. I had a small reception. They got a warm reception from the audience. We decorated the reception room. We went to their wedding reception. They threw their daughter a big reception. They were given a warm reception when they arrived. The album received good reception. The public reception to the movie was not favorable. Our television is getting poor reception. The radio reception in this area is poor. We had our wedding reception at a hotel. There was a warm reception for the visitors. The visitors were greeted with a warm reception. We had a good reception from critics. There was positive reception to the book.
Recover. To get better after an illness or a difficult situation. To get something back that was lost or stolen. He recovered his confidence. The economy is finally recovering. The acrobat recovered her balance. He was able to recover his losses. She fully recovered from her illness. They are recovering well after being lost in the cold overnight. I eventually recovered from the loss. He is recovering from the operation slowly. They never recovered their stolen items. She is recovering from the accident slowly. Replacement. A thing that takes the place of something else. I need a replacement filter. She is looking for a replacement. We have to hire a replacement. I need a replacement part for my car. What is the replacement cost? My father is having hip replacement surgery. Have you found a suitable replacement? We need complete replacement of the roof. He is her permanent replacement. She would be the ideal replacement. I got a hip replacement surgery. He is the replacement for me. This will work as a replacement.
Resolve. To settle a problem or disagreement. We tried to resolve the problem. We failed to resolve the dispute. We resolved the conflict. The conflict was peacefully resolved. The problem was resolved by the intervention of our pastors. The dispute was resolved with police intervention. We resolved the issue in court. Retire. To stop working at a job because you have reached a certain age. He plans to retire soon. She retired recently. I hope to retire comfortably. He has officially retired from baseball. He retired at age 67. I've just retired from my job. She retired as the vice president of the company.
Revolution. A large group of people trying to change the government. A large change. One complete turn. He sparked a revolution among the people. The revolution occurred in May. The revolution toppled the government. Cell phones created a new revolution in technology. We are seeing a revolution in medical technology. The Earth makes one revolution every 24 hours. We are going through a digital revolution. They led a violent revolution. The wheel turned one full revolution. He led a revolution against the government. There has been a huge revolution in technology. The planet makes revolutions around the sun.
Reward. Something given or received for doing a good job. Money given or received for helping someone find a lost item or helping the police. I was promised a big reward for outstanding work.
She earned a reward for all of her hard work.
He offered a reward for the return of his lost puppy. I claimed my reward from the police. I got half of the reward money. We have a reward system. They are offering a large reward. He got money as a reward.
Reward. To give something as a prize for good work. His loyalty was rewarded. You will be amply rewarded for your efforts. He was finally rewarded for his good work. We were rewarded with a great dinner. She was rewarded for her work.
River. A natural stream of fresh water that flows into the ocean. We crossed the river. The river is flowing. We took the riverboat. We walked along the riverbank. The river basin is dry. The river water is rising. This is a shallow river. We walked along the river. They swam across the river. She jumped into the river. The boat is on the river.
Roll. To move by turning over. To form something into a shape of a ball or tube. He rolled another cigarette. The camera is rolling. She rolled the dice. He rolled his eyes. He rolled the ball to me. The ball rolled back. The baby carriage was slowly rolling down the driveway. She tightly rolled the ball of yarn. He rolled up the newspaper and used it to swat a fly. A ball rolled down the street. The pencil rolled off the table. I rolled the yarn into a ball.
Roll. A small, round piece of baked bread. A list of names. The teacher is calling roll. The restaurant serves sweet rolls. We ate cinnamon rolls for breakfast. My son is on the honor roll. The teacher is taking roll call. Her name wasn't on the honor roll.
Row. A number of people or things in a line. I sat in the back row. My daughter is standing on the bottom row. There is an endless row of trees on this street. They are sitting in a row. Look at the row of ducklings.
Row. To paddle a boat. He rowed the boat to shore. We need 2 people to row the canoe. We rowed the boat to shore. We rowed down the river. I am rowing for our team. Sandwich. 2 pieces of bread with something between them. Stephanie would like a ham sandwich. I had a toasted sandwich for lunch. He made 2 turkey sandwiches. Let's go to the sandwich shop. I packed it in a sandwich bag. What would you like in your sandwich? Shock. Extreme surprise. The family will be in for a big shock when they see the airfare costs. I enjoyed the party after the initial shock wore off. When we went to China, he experienced culture shock. I got a huge shock when I saw him. You gave me quite a shock. His mom expressed great shock by her son's bad grades. She never got over the shock of the tragic accident. He does crazy things just for the shock value. She fainted in shock over the news. That was a huge shock to me.
Shock. To surprise someone. To affect with an electrical discharge. She was deeply shocked by her grandmother's death. The child was easily shocked by the clown. He completely shocked everyone with his news. He accidentally shocked himself with a live wire. His death shocked her into depression. She was shocked by the bad news. He shocked everyone with his new appearance. He shocked himself with a live wire.
Sink. To go below the surface. To fall. The boat sank slowly. Her boots sank down into the mud. The ship nearly sank during the storm. The ship began to sink. The boat started to sink beneath the water. He was slowly sinking into the mud. He sank up to his chest in quicksand.
Sink. A wide bowl with a faucet used for washing. I used the bathroom sink to wash my hands. The sink is clogged. They have a beautiful marble sink. She filled the sink with dirty dishes. The food clogged the sink. Please clear the sink. Jordan installed a stainless sink in the kitchen. She is at the sink washing paint off her hands. Don't put any food particles down the sink. Please put your dishes in the sink.
Slip. A careless mistake. A piece of paper. He made a little slip during his speech. She makes occasional slips at work. His mother needs to sign the permission slip. I need to fill out the deposit slip. I made a couple of accidental slips during the interview. I cannot afford any slips today. He forgot to sign the credit card slip. Please complete and return the bottom slip. She wrote her phone number on a slip of paper.
Son, a male child. She recently had a baby son. They enjoy raising their infant son. They have 2 teenage sons. He is the only son in his family. He is an adopted son. They have 3 teenage sons. His wife gave birth to twin sons. They have raised 2 wonderful sons. Her son grew up without a father.
Sorry. Feeling sadness or regret over what happened or what you have done. She was sorry for offending him. I will make you sorry for what you did. I am truly sorry for what I said. He felt slightly sorry for his sister. I'm sorry about ruining the picture. I feel really sorry for you. Spare. To make money or time available for someone. To save something or someone from experiencing pain, injury, or death. She hardly spared him any time. The tornado mercifully spared our city. Can you spare a moment? You need to spare some time for your children. He doesn't know why he was spared from being killed. Spare me the details. Can you spare me a moment? The gunman spared his life.
Spare. Extra. You can stay in the spare bedroom. Do you have any spare cash? Do you have a spare moment? I need to buy some spare parts.
Speech. The act of speaking, a formal talk given in front of people. His slurred speech was an indication that he had too much to drink. We were worried that he was going to suddenly give a spontaneous speech. We have the right to free speech. Slang is used mostly in informal speech. We were touched by his emotional speech. He fell asleep during the professor's boring speech. She was really excited to hear the keynote speech. We were surprised by his farewell speech. He struggles with speech impediment. She needs to find a speech therapist.
His son needs speech therapy.
New cell phones are capable of speech recognition. He mentioned his mother in his speech. The president gave a speech on the state of the economy. The president delivered his final speech to the nation. Spite. The desire to hurt, annoy, or offend someone. He spread rumors out of pure spite. He is full of spite. He hurt his brother out of sheer spite. He felt pure spite towards them.
Spite. To bother or hurt someone intentionally. She did it just to spite me. He does things only to spite me. He played loud music at night to spite his neighbors. She gave her ex-husband's clothes away to spite him.
Spray. Tiny drops of liquid that flies through the air. We felt a light spray of water on our faces. We bought some bug spray for camping. She needed to go to the drugstore to buy hairspray. She carries around pepper spray in her purse just in case she is attacked. The fountain sent up a spray of water in the air. A spray of salt water flew up when waves crashed onto the rocks. He applied mosquito spray on his face. She was covered with a spray of water. She needs a spray bottle for the paint. He is using spray paint on the walls.
Spray. To cover with tiny drops of liquid. My son sprayed water all over the bathroom floor. The vandals sprayed graffiti all over the walls. She sprays perfume on her neck and wrists. She quickly sprayed water on the fire. The farmer regularly sprays pesticides on his crop. Surprise. An unexpected event or news. It was a total surprise to see my old friend. He had a great surprise for his wife. The party was a real surprise to the birthday girl. What a pleasant surprise to see you here. She had a little surprise for her daughter. I have a little surprise for you. I received a big surprise when I arrived home. He spoiled the surprise. That was a huge surprise to everyone. The band made a surprise appearance. He threw his girlfriend a surprise party. They made a surprise announcement at dinner. There was a surprise attack on the sleeping soldiers. It was a surprise win for the team. We have a surprise guest tonight. He had a big surprise for her. The news came as a complete surprise to him.
Surprise. To amaze or shock someone by doing or saying something unexpectedly. To meet or attack someone without warning. She really surprised us with her musical talent. Things hardly surprise me anymore. He was surprised by the results. She surprised everyone with her new haircut. Nothing surprises me anymore. Things still surprise me at this age. She still surprises me after all these years. Everything surprises him.
Suspect. Guilty, not innocent. Her behavior was extremely suspect at the crime scene. His attitude was deeply suspect after the accident. He is becoming increasingly suspect since the robberies. Her reasons are a little suspect for wanting to help us. He seems a little suspect to me.
Suspect. Someone who may have committed a crime or wrongdoing. He is the prime suspect in her murder. She would be the obvious suspect in the theft case. The police identified the murder suspect. The suspect was captured at his home. The police interrogated the suspect for many hours. The suspect was charged with murder. The robbery suspect was released after posting bail. He is a suspect in the thefts. She is a suspect for the double murders.
Suspect. To think something may be true. To think someone is guilty of a crime or wrongdoing. She strongly suspects that her coworker is stealing money from the company. I always suspected he was capable of bad things. She immediately suspected her husband of cheating. They wrongly suspected him of committing the crime. I am beginning to suspect something is wrong. Do you have reason to suspect she is stealing? He was suspected of committing murder.
Sweet. Tasting like sugar. Pleasant smelling. Nice. The dessert is very sweet. The cake is a little sweet for me. Are the cookies sweet enough for you? Her mom is really sweet to everyone. The cheesecake tasted too sweet. The flowers smell like sweet candy. She makes very sweet desserts. His girlfriend is very sweet. I find her to be too sweet. His mom is always so sweet to us. The pie was too sweet for us.
Sweet. Candy or something that tastes like sugar. She always has a bag of sugary sweets. He bought his girlfriend a box of chocolate sweets. She likes eating sweets. Swing. To move back and forth or side to side, to move the arms or legs in a curving motion, to change from one mood or opinion to another. The angry child was wildly swinging his arms. He suddenly swung his chair around to face her. He carefully swings the axe when chopping wood. He suddenly swings from one mood to another. The gorilla swings from branch to branch. She started swinging her arms at him. The election could be suddenly changed by swing voters.
Swing. A change in mood or opinion. A seat hung from above using ropes or chains. A sweeping motion using the arms. He needs to practice his golf swing. He took practice swings before coming up to the plate. The kids love playing on the tire swing. He took a huge swing at him. He took a sudden swing at the guy and missed. He has terrible mood swings. The batter has a powerful swing. She suffers from bad mood swings. Batters practice their swings every day. The golfer changed his swing. The drunk man took a swing at the bartender. Kids are playing on the swing. She suffers from mood swings. There was a sudden swing in his opinion. There was a sudden swing toward the new candidate. He took a swing at him. She pushes her daughter on the swing.
Tea. A beverage made from leaves or flowers. I am brewing fresh tea. They are serving iced tea. I drink tea in the morning. I will serve tea at the party. Do you like my new tea kettle? This is an antique tea set. Do you take sugar in your tea?
Till. The drawer of a cash register where money is held. All cash registers have electronic tills now. The store owner was sad to see the empty till. The clerk opened the till. He counted the money in the till. She refilled the till with more cash. She took money from the till. There is no money in the till.
Till. To prepare land for growing fruits and vegetables. The farmer carefully tilled the soil.
Till. Prep until. Short for until. I will be here till 8 o'clock. The project will not be completed till next week. We waited till 10 o'clock. It won't come till tomorrow morning. Can you stay till everyone leaves?
Transition. The process of changing from one condition or place to another. He made a sudden transition in his career. Changing schools was a difficult transition for my daughter. He made a smooth transition to his new job. The company is making a slow transition into the world of technology. We are making a complete transition from paper to electronic files. They completed the transition during the summer. The gradual transition will occur this summer. We need to be patient during the transition period. It's going to be difficult during the transition period. That country has been in transition for many years. Twist. To bend or turn into a particular shape or form. He twisted his ankle badly. The cowboy quickly twisted his rope. She slowly twisted the doorknob of the baby's room. She twisted the facts to make herself look good. He twisted his ankle playing baseball. He twisted my words to make it look like I was lying. She twisted the rope around the pole.
Twist. An unexpected change in events, a bend or a turn in a particular shape or form. There was a shocking twist at the end of the book. The director added a modern twist to the old movie. The final twist in the movie series was completely unexpected. He opened the bottle cap with a slight twist. The mountain road is full of scary twists and turns. There is a clever twist at the end of the book. The director added a weird twist to the original story. The movie had a strange twist at the end. The movie ended with a twist. I love movies with twist endings. Ugly. Not pretty. Bad looking. Unpleasant. The wallpaper is very ugly. The monster is terribly ugly. She feels ugly. The discussion is getting ugly. They're going through an ugly divorce. Who started the ugly rumor about her?
Unlikely. Not likely to happen. It is very unlikely he will change his mind. The plan is unlikely to succeed. It remains unlikely that he will change his mind. He was the unlikely candidate. That was an unlikely explanation.
Upstairs. Located above the first floor of a building or house. Please use the upstairs bathroom. He lives in the upstairs apartment. Our upstairs neighbor is very noisy.
Upstairs. The floor in a building or house that is above the first floor. The upstairs is empty. We live upstairs. They rent the upstairs. We moved the bathroom upstairs.
Usual. Normal. Happens most of the time. It is quite usual for people to be nervous on their first day of work. His behavior is far from usual these days. It is usual for her to lead the conversation. It has become usual for everyone to gather at his house. It is usual for her to be home on the weekends.
Village. Small town. The hurricane affected the neighboring villages. We studied about the ancient villages of Africa. He is from a remote village outside of this city. They work in a fishing village. She is from another village. She comes from the next village. The village was destroyed by a hurricane. The village houses over 50 fishermen.
Warning. An action that tells someone about a danger or a bad thing that might happen. A statement that bad behavior will be punished if it happens again. The city issued an urgent warning of a tornado coming to the area. We received advance warning about the flood. The company has given her several verbal warnings. The teacher gave the misbehaving student a strong warning. It is important to put health warnings on certain packages. The referee gave the soccer player a warning during the game. He receives many warnings for not doing homework. They ignored the warning. The lifeguards posted a warning about possible sharks in the area. A security alarm provides a warning of an intruder. There was a warning about a flood in our area. The police warned against leaving windows unlocked. They ignored the warning sign. Weekend. The period of time from Saturday through Sunday. I am looking forward to a long weekend. We went to the beach last weekend. Where are you going next weekend? How did you spend your weekend? Did you have a fun weekend? I worked on the weekend. We have a weekend house in the mountains. We are taking a weekend trip to the lake.
Weigh. To measure how heavy someone or something is. To think about something carefully. She constantly weighs herself. The jury carefully weighed all of the evidence. He will heavily weigh his options before making a decision. The evidence weighed against him. Her credibility weighed in her favor. Let's weigh the options before making a decision.
Welcome. The way someone is greeted, something that is said or done when someone arrives to make the person feel happy. The grandparents received a warm welcome at the airport. The mean teacher got a cold welcome from her students on the first day of class. He received a hero's welcome after he returned from the military. They received a special welcome from their family. Let's give a nice welcome to the new couple. We do not want to overstay our welcome. She received a nice welcome from her mother-in-law. They received a warm welcome to the neighborhood.
Welcome. To greet someone in a friendly way. The flight attendant warmly welcomed the passengers. Let's kindly welcome all new visitors. I would like to officially welcome Mr. and Mrs. Johnson to the group. Let's welcome back our teammate. They welcomed us with open arms. They welcomed us into their group. We are excited to welcome a new member of the team.
Welcome. Making someone feel happy and wanted. You are always welcome in our house. Your great ideas are extremely welcome right now. New patients are welcome at the doctor's office. People of all ages are welcome to the party.
Winner. Someone that comes in first place in a contest or game. She was the overall winner in the competition. Who is the lucky winner this week? She is the clear winner in this election. He is the big winner at the casino. He was the surprise winner in the game. We were excited to meet the Nobel Peace Prize winner. This year's host is an Academy Award winner. She emerged as the winner of the essay contest. They will announce the winner of the contest after the commercials. We must choose a winner soon. The winner will receive a cash prize. The winner of the contest is Mary Johnson.
Worker. A person who does a job. She is a hard worker. He got fired for being a slow worker. The department store is hiring part-time workers. We are in need of volunteer workers at the food bank. Average workers make minimum wage. Rescue workers are needed at the earthquake site. Daycare workers should be monitored. The company has over 100 workers. They pay their workers more than minimum wage. Most workers earn minimum wage at that restaurant. The stores are hiring workers during the holidays. The big company laid off half of their workers. Unions protect workers from unfair labor practices. The workers organized a union to defend themselves from unfair labor practices. Over 100 workers lost their jobs before Christmas. Workers voted to strike. He is seeking worker compensation. The union is demanding worker rights. Writer. A person who puts letters, words, or numbers on paper or another surface using a pen or pencil. A person whose job is to write books, articles, or stories. Ernest Hemingway is a famous writer. F. Scott Fitzgerald is my favorite writer. There are many accomplished writers in the 20th century. He got a job as a full-time writer. They wanted to hire an experienced writer for the newspaper. She is a romance writer. The magazine is looking for young writers. The famous writer is writing an autobiography. The science fiction writer suggests that aliens exist. The young writer describes surviving a plane crash in his book. She is a writer of many cookbooks. She started as a freelance writer. She is a writer for various magazines.